Oh yes, we are back. How you guys liking them nationalized elections Trump's talking about? You liking those good? You liking the thought of those? Yeah? What do you say, MAGA? You like going against the Constitution? What do you feel about the military being at the polling stations? You guys like that? Is that right up your alley now? Just say fuck the Constitution, nationalize the elections. We'll go into all the Democrat states, potentially bring in the National Guard, and we'll just scrutinize people and harass people so they won't come in and vote for who they want to. Instead, they'll just leave and not vote for anybody. Well, the problem with that is there's already a lot of Republicans. Maybe MAGA hasn't heard, or I should say maybe Trump hasn't heard. I think MAGA's heard it pretty well. Maybe Trump hasn't heard. A lot of MAGAs, they're not MAGA no more. See, they don't like when people that they elected, who they thought was all for 2A and 1A and all these laws they thought were protected. Freedom of speech is back. The Second Amendment is back. They were all happy. But look, now you got the drunk-ass judge, Pirro, saying anybody who goes to Washington, D.C. with a gun at a protest, it would be arrested. That's right. She said that shit. These people are not Republicans, man. They're not Democrats. They're fake-ass populists who run on, be honest with you, the policies aren't very strong, you know? They always talk about the same shit. They always talk about the border and they talk about trans people. Well, there's thousands of there's thousands of athletes, NCAA athletes in the country. The amount of trans is, I believe, maybe 10 or 11, right around that number, if that. So, you know, they like making mountains out of molehills, and that's their thing, man. They love doing that shit. They love to attack the little nitpick, minutia things that really don't affect everyday society while overlooking the big enchilada. That's right. You know, there's always people like Megyn Kelly out here. All she keeps talking about is Don Lemon. But yet, not one video about the Epstein files. Wonder why that is. You think that's by accident? You guys think it's an accidental thing that a lot of these right-wingers aren't talking about the Epstein thing anymore? The new files. They'd rather talk about Don Lemon and you know, stuff like that, and it's little stories when they don't want to talk about the big burrito on their plate. They'd rather look at the little street fish tacos and say, I'm going to report on these instead of the big burrito right in front of you that obviously you don't want to see it. You really don't. They don't want to see it. You know, and that's a really sad way to live your life. When you live your life to the point to where you don't want to even believe the horrible shit about your guy. And like I said, at this point, and believe me, I follow both of the realms here of the right and the left, in case you're wondering. And a lot of people that were strong Trump supporters, who I've been following for a while, they're no longer on the MAGA train anymore because they feel like they've been betrayed by the administration, which they have. They've been betrayed by the administration. They've been lied to. And it's clear that these agencies and high-ranking government officials have been covering for the cabal. A cabal that, like I said in my previous video, will never be put away. They'll never be any justice for these people. They're too politically connected. They're very wealthy, rich people who, it's kind of like pulling a string on a yarn with them. See, if you pull the string and the yarn starts coming out, then everything collapses, and they can't afford for that to happen. There's too much money at stake for them to allow that shit to happen. So, what do? They do what Epstein did by going out here and blackmailing, potentially intimidating people, and finally potentially unaliving people for knowing too much about their little nasty secret operation that it's been going on for many years. And that's the problem, is you have these government people going after the little fish while the big shark is swimming freely and taking whoever he wants down to the bottom of the ocean with him. And until somebody, and not just somebody, it needs to be a group of people in government to say, listen, we don't care how rich, connected, and powerful these people are. If they hurt children, they need to come to justice and be held accountable for their actions. Democrat, Republican, it don't matter what aisle you lay on, you stand on, whatever way you want to look at it. If you hurt kids, you should be brought to fucking justice for doing that shit. And hopefully, I doubt it. I try to be optimistic, but I also try to be realistic. I doubt anybody really big up the food chain will be brought to justice, but let's hope that it happens sooner than later. Anyhow, guys, that's my video for right now. I'm Tommy. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate everybody. Really helps out the channel. Shout out to my new subscribers. Thanks again. And I'll be back on here before you know it. Once again, take care of yourself and each other. And thank you very much.